Make an owl, and we're going to make a nest for our owl to live in. So this is a sculpture because it's 3D art. Remember, it pops out at you. So I'm going to set this aside. Our first job is to make our owl. So we're going to need our Model Magic. Let's open that up. Now, this is probably more Model Magic than you need. You might want to use half of this, and then you can make something else with the other half. So I'm going to first roll my Model Magic into a ball shape. Sometimes this is called a sphere. It's a 3D circle. So roll that. You can roll it on the table, or you can roll it in your hands and make a ball shape. Now we're going to make our ball shape into a pancake. So to do that, we're going to put it on the table and take your hand and kind of squish it flat. I'm going to flip mine over and squish it again. We want it to stay as a circle, but it does need to get flat. So I'm going to use my fingers and pinch it because I want to get it a little bit thinner. That looks pretty good. So now I have a pancake. We're going to add some texture to our pancake. Texture is how something feels. So to create texture in this very smooth Model Magic, I'm going to hold my marker just like I'm about to draw with it. But look, I still have the cap on. So I'm about to write, but I still have the cap on, and I'm going to hold my marker and push into the bottom of that circle. So you can, well, I'll hold it up in a second. It's hard to see in the video. There we go. So I pushed it into the bottom of that Model Magic. So there are like feather shapes for my owl. Okay. So we're going to set that down. And the next job is to bring the sides of the owl in. So if you look, I'm taking the two sides and I'm bringing them up to the middle and they're touching. So now we're going to push them down flat. My owl has feathers. My owl has wings. We need to give our owl a face too. So I'm going to take this top part of this little wrap that I made and I'm going to fold it down and kind of push down. I also like to pinch his ears a little bit. So now I have this owl shape. We need to add some more details to our owl so that he looks like an owl. So I'm going to use my marker again. This time I'm going to try the bottom of my marker. I'm going to push that in 1, 2 times, and I gave my owl some eyes. I hope you can see those. So to finish him, we need to draw a little beak. The beak is like the owl's nose and mouth. I drew kind of like a little V shape. Let me show you. A little V shape for my owl's beak. And then I'm going to take a couple minutes and color in my owl using markers. So we don't want to push too hard with our markers because it might change the Model Magic while it's still soft. So I'm going to be really gentle and just kind of like tickle the Model Magic. You can see I'm not coloring it in all the way. I'm just kind of drawing lines on it so he looks really feathery. Don't forget to color those eyes a different color too, so those stand out. I think I'm going to do blue for my eyes, so I'm going to be so careful and trace around. Give him some nice big blue eyes. Uh-oh, I made him a little bit too big. I might have to change his beak to be red now to hide my mistake. That happens, right? We make mistakes. And now I'm going to give him a little bit of color where his feathers are. So you color your owl however you would like. I think I'm done with my owl. I like how he looks. Let's set him aside to dry. He's going to get a little bit hard, not too hard. Let's make our owl's nest now. You have a brown bag with some papers inside of it. Let's reach down inside and take out those papers. We're going to use those in just a minute. Now, we're going to make this bag into our owl's nest. So first, let's open it up. At the top of the bag, it opens like a mouth. And then at the bottom, we have this little flappy part. So I'm going to put my hand inside the bag and then open my hand up really big. And that's going to help me open up this bag. So put your hand inside and then open that up really big. So now if I wanted to, my bag could stand up. So the bottom of the bag is going to be the bottom of the nest too. But we have to roll down the sides of the bag to create that nest shape. So what I'm going to do is I'm just kind of trying to open up the bag. I'm taking the edge and opening it up so it's kind of like folding over. I'll show you some other views of it. This is kind of tricky. You might need a parent or somebody to help you start this. But then after you get it started, you're going to take these sides and we're going to roll and roll and roll down. So I'm squeezing it with my hands and going kind of like this. And it's going to roll down the sides of my bag. So it's going to get shorter, okay? I'm going to do a couple of them. I'm turning my bag as I go, rolling it down, kind of like we're rolling up a sock. So my bag's staying open. Ooh, it's getting big at the bottom. All right, I'm close to the bottom now, so I'm just going to push my nest flat and kind of give it a little squeeze. So you should have a little spot in here that you can fit your owl. I'm going to open mine up a little so he's got more room in his new home. So that's our nest shape. Now we're going to make a branch that our nest is sitting on. So you have two pieces of brown paper, really long, skinny rectangles. We're going to use some glue. I'm going to use liquid glue. You might have a glue stick that would work too. I got to let that glue drip down to the bottom. I'm going to put just one little dot as soon as my glue is ready to work. There it is. Now I'm going to make the letter X. So I'm going to push and hold that, make sure that stays on. This is going to be the branch that my nest is sitting on. So I glued my X together. Now I'm going to put another little dot of glue on the middle of the X, and I'm going to take the bottom of my bag and then put it on top of that X. So now I have a nest on a branch. All we're missing are some leaves. So let's see. I'm going to make 3 leaves. So I have 3 pieces of paper together. Leaves can be all different shapes, but the shape that I like to draw is kind of like a really big rainbow. And then underneath of the rainbow, we're going to draw like a smile line. So there's the smile. It's kind of like a lemon shape. I'm going to hold all of those together and carefully cut. You might have to cut more than one time. That's okay too. Maybe you want to draw that line that's on the middle of leaves sometimes, or some little diagonal lines. That's up to you. Just giving my sculpture some more detail. Now our last thing to do is glue our leaves on. So I'm going to put my leaves on the branches. Remember, we don't need a lot of glue. A lot of glue means it takes a long time to dry. And sometimes it gets ooey gooey and messy. So I'm going to put 1 leaf there. And I think I'm going to put my other 2 over here, 2 together. So now we have our nest and we have our owl that can live in our nest. And you have just created a gorgeous sculpture. Nice job, kindergarten artists.